Welcome back to Minus 16, the tech podcast where we also roll up our sleeves and get into the business of YouTube.
Literally.
Alex, it's just the two of us this time. It's like old times, isn't it? It's like old times.
I know. We've been replaced by his wife.
Yeah, Daniel has something better, yeah. He's got a fun date night with the other half, so he said, could he step this one out? But he's also booked a great guest for us in 2 weeks' time, so...
I don't know, man. I think we should fire him. You know, we need commitment here.
Yeah.
We can't just like, oh, my wife is more important than the podcast. No, none of this.
The tech community needs. The podcasts are falling by the wayside. We need to get this content out. So Alex and I are here as per, and there's not really that much new that we need to talk about with gadget and tech-wise.
There's plenty. Don't say that. People, don't stay here. There's loads to talk about.
But there is loads to talk about with Google, YouTube, and of course, this coming Monday, WWDC, which is falls right into my lane, of course. I kind of live for this Monday all year round, waiting to see what's going to happen.
What an exciting time.
Well, none of the conferences, I know Google announced an awful lot, but because we get them so often now, the conference season doesn't mean quite what it used to.
No, they used to be the in-person ones. You know, I know they still do in-person now, and they get people there, and you know, kind of this echo chamber. But I don't know, man. It used to be so more exciting, right? Because we knew there'll be some amazing things being dished out and whatever. But yeah, that's the world of tech, right? It's diminishing returns and all that right now.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. There's less and less they can bring to us. But I suppose what we need to do, we're just 2-3 days away from WWDC. So it's worth going into the latest rumours of what we're expecting to happen and what our kind of thoughts on it are. Now, it seems absolutely nailed to the mast is the new main features that AI is going to be introduced with Apple this year. I think that it's going to be a gap
almost
year.
Fell asleep.
I think apparently they're almost openly going to say it's a gap year, that it's a year for Siri to catch up.
Right.
Now, off the bat...
Before we get into that, can I just kind of just surface something here? Is this like make or break for Apple? Do you feel like if they don't get this right now, they're in serious trouble, or they have so much that it doesn't matter? I mean, what's your? Because I'm almost I'm still a customer, but I'm less and less. I'm more disconnected to Apple than I've ever been. So my feel is, yes, looking almost like as an outsider. It feels like, oh my gosh, if they don't make this work now, it's the end. But at the same time, it's like, it can't be, right?
Right. I mean, I don't think it'll be the end of Apple, but something clearly needs to change. And I don't think it's their products particularly. I think the hardware is pretty good. Yeah. It's the way the company's being run. There is something endemically wrong with the way that the hierarchy and this whole mess with Apple AI all came about from a management reshuffle, handled poorly, a lot of backstabbing, infighting, departments not knowing what the other was doing. There was no cognitive thinking, and it's led to this mess. And I think they've always assumed that they will win out and get their way. And funnily enough, I've just been recording a short today because do you remember when we were last on the pod, I said that judge really lent into me. She was vicious in what she said.
Oh, I think that was when I was on holiday. I did listen to that. Yes.
She was, I mean, she didn't hold back. She was really, and basically they put up somebody to lie on the stand. I mean, it was, you know, they sent a lamb to the slaughter. And so of course
that's not very Apple.
But and well, this is the thing. They're now playing the bad ball all the time. So they of course appealed, and the appeal's been thrown out. And why is it being thrown out? Because the courts are fed up that they won't listen to what they're being told. If they had just done the little bit they were being asked way back with this Epic thing, open up the App Store, none of this would be happening. But now they've been told, no, it's not waiting for appeal. As of now, you've got to open up the App Store for web links and outside purchases, and they won't get any of your revenue. It's a massive change. Why would the courts listen? They're pissed off.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't think they care, right? What we think. And I think on one hand, I'm like, yes, it's almost like finally they're getting what they deserve in terms of whatever. But at the same time, I'm thinking, actually, for the tech world, this is bad news. You know, Apple not doing well is actually not great. I don't think.
I mean, we know
they push the others, right? If Apple isn't doing well, if Apple isn't pushing boundaries, if Apple isn't delivering innovation, and like I said, they deliver amazing products, but they've been relying on that branding and that kind of hardware quality for a bit too long now, I think, right? And
That's
it's nothing
where they've
new.
no, that's where they've gone wrong. They're not being innovative. They're not recreate. They're relying on the old stalwarts rather than looking ahead and trying to do what they did best. They
Even
can
Apple
be brilliant,
Silicon, right, which is a marvel of
exactly,
technology.
and
That's now like getting on a bit.
yeah. Well, that was 2020. The first Apple Silicon Macs came out, and that's exactly it. Because as you just said, because of that, all the other PC manufacturers have had to catch up with ARM, and their chips have improved because Apple took the storm and showed what could be done. And that's where they can be brilliant. But at the moment, the management, and does it have to rest with the top man? You'd have to at some point say that Cook can't take none of the blame for this. He is clearly the CEO, very much a hands-on CEO from what we understand. And what he says goes. And if he's running the company in his very safe numbers fashion,
Exactly. That's exactly, my point earlier about, you know, it's a successful company, so they might not even care whether they do, as long as the numbers are looking good, and they've been for years, right? And they're the most profitable company, one of the most profitable companies out there. It's like, why change?
well,
So
why change?
unless customers, right, stop buying their stuff, that's when things might change, I think.
But equally, did you realize the services industry, the services side of their business, was raking 70% gross profit, 70, as opposed to hardware, which is about 35, 40, I believe.
Money for old rope, I think, is the term.
Yeah, but that is because of the App Store now, they're going to lose a ton of money. All that 30% they were taking off all of those devs, gone, immediately gone. And if this Department of Justice hearing goes against Google, and Google have to sell off Chrome, and Google is no longer paying Apple $20 billion a year. No, I don't care how big a company you are. $20 billion a year has got to hurt.
Here's the counter to that, right? Because I've been thinking about this for my video about WWDC next week, which is going to be exciting. But I've been thinking about the fact that Apple might not care right now because they know that they're getting new customers every year. They get customers very early in their stage of, like, kids, right? They know what Apple is. They know Apple is synonymous with
All
being
their
cool
photos are
and
there.
being in
Yeah.
the trend and whatever. So long term, they might just be saying, you know what? We know those customers will be there when we come up with whatever, iPhone 25. Actually, they're changing the name of stuff now, so maybe
They are, which we'll get into in a minute. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, in a way, I totally see what you're saying, right? It's like they're losing money, right, left, and center, which is no good. But it might be just a drop in the ocean when they look at the bigger picture.
Clearly, they are big enough to ride a very big bad wave, clearly. But equally, if you're planning 4, 5, 6, 10 years down the line, they've got to be thinking forward. And I think they need a change. I just think there's something stale there at the moment. Something doesn't add up. They're not the company that I still love their products, but what we are looking at coming down line, I've got nothing against, for instance, Vision Pro, the last big platform that came out. I've got nothing against it. It was stunning technology. We know it wasn't going to sell big, but equally, they kind of missed the mark with it again. And you'd have to question, that was supposed to be Tim Cook's big legacy. That was supposed to be his big sign-off. Okay, the Apple Car didn't happen, but here is on-your-face spatial computing. My job is done. And it just hasn't happened. Was it too heavy? Was it too expensive? I don't know.
I think it's just, they missed, like I said, they probably missed the customer aspect. It's like, who's really going to, I mean, even if they sold it for like $2,000, it would probably end up being like the AirPods Pro, which is, it's like one of those things. It's nice to have. It's nice when you use it. It's fantastic quality. But really, you don't take it out, right? Most people, I mean, now you're seeing it more because they're obviously getting old. But for years, you wouldn't see them in public.
No, if you did, you sort of stared, didn't you?
It's weird.
Somebody's wearing AirPods Max. Yeah.
But so I don't know, man. I think, yeah, it's missing something. I think innovation is one of the things that is just, but from a cultural perspective as well, in the company, feels like they're not aspirational in the industry. They don't feel like the aspirational company they used to be.
They're not the cutting edge, are they?
There are a lot more like smaller, more nimble AI based companies that are, doing amazing stuff. I don't know.
So yeah, I mean, I'm with you. You know, for all of my love of the products that I use, looking down the line, I'm just worried where the next sharp new innovation is going to be. Now, I mean, if we look at WWDC, yes, again, if you're being the skeptic, you could say, well, of course they need to do a massive overhaul on the UI because they've got to cover all the other dinosaurs that are in the room at the moment. And there's a lot of skeletons they've got to bury from last year. How they dance around the mistakes from last year is going to be the thing I'm most, and I think a lot of people are very intrigued to say, do they make any kind of comment to it? Or those features will be shipping soon? Or
yeah, I'm not a betting man, but here's what I think they will do. They will ignore the shit out of what just happened. They will not mention the disasters. They'll just be full on Apple mode. Like, let's, pretend that nothing's happening. Everything's fine. And there's a massive fire behind them. I think that's probably the thumbnail.
That was going to say.
But, it's a little bit like that. I don't see them coming in and saying, hey guys, we fucked up. I don't think they will do that.
No, I don't.
It would be awesome to see them do that, to see them be real and almost like, okay, we made a massive mistake. We absolutely missed the mark. We didn't read the customer. We didn't read the market, and we screwed up. But
which they did with Mobile Me, didn't they? When Steve Jobs came out and said, we got it wrong, we've listened to you.
But that was a different sort of Apple, right, back then.
Yes, it was. Yeah. And I'm not going to be one... Yeah. I'm not going to be one of these people that harks back to everything was better with Steve Jobs, but at least he was a design man. He was enthused by the product. And you just get the feeling at the moment that Cook is enthused by the bottom line and not the product. And I know they got a board to follow.
Not at the moment. I mean, for many years now, it's been like that. I mean, every single product I look at, apart from, and I was thinking about this the other day, apart from the Mac Mini, apart from the Macs in general, I mean, most Macs, but Mac Mini in particular, but the MacBook Pro, and
the MacBook Air, you can do more. The MacBook Air, you can do everything on.
Yeah, so the Macs, those three, definitely. But if you look at iPads, if you look at the iPhone, even the Apple Watch, I mean, they've been very much like, comfort zone. Let's not push the boundaries. Let's add little things like dynamic whatever, and camera buttons or whatever.
The OLED
not really doing anything.
That tandem OLED display on the iPad is gorgeous. That was their big thing last year. That is stunning. But yeah, the actual...
Honestly, yes, absolutely not disputing that. But when it comes down to whether the rubber meets the whatever, however, people are going, my 2018 iPad does exactly the same thing. So unless you are a pro, and I mean, I see the benefit of having the M4 iPad Pro. Majority of people, it's like, whatever. My 2018 still doing this. Still doing the job. iPad is still. So I fell for that in 2021 when the M1 iPad Pro came out. Oh my God, how exciting was that to see the M chip being put on an iPad? Amazing work of marketing and salesmanship. Fantastic. Because I'm sold. Take my money. Because I knew in my mind, I was like, oh my gosh, the iPad is finally going to be something different than just a tablet.
I think what they've got in mind this year, we'll talk about some of the almost certain new apps and features that are coming, but obviously the big news has been that they're changing the name of their OSs. Across the board, everything's going to go to, as of this year, we understand, iOS 26, iPad 26, which makes it's clear.
But it's a diversion. It's clearly it's like, don't look over here. There's a new name.
Well, that's what I said. I mean, the skeptic is going to say everything is due to cover the skeletons from last year, isn't it? So equally, my concern also is if this overhaul for the UI is as big as we're hearing, and all the pictures, it could look phenomenal. But this is the same team that have been responsible for Apple Intelligence last year. We're now entrusting them to come up with a bug-free major. If it's just a reskin, that's one thing. But if it is belts and braces, that's the one.
It's so bad, right? I mean, here's a
If they get this
human.
wrong,
Here's a psychology aspect that I didn't expect to happen, and it just happened. I think it was Monday, Tuesday this week. I accidentally on my iPad pressed the power button for too long or whatever, and the noise that Apple Intelligence makes.
mhm.
My brain, for whatever reason, I wasn't thinking. It just happened. I thought there was an error message on my iPad. I was like, wrong, and then I realized, oh shit, that was the Apple Intelligence thing because I don't use it, and I gave my iPhone away a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that weird to associate even just the noise with a bad thing?
Bad thing. Yeah.
Because I've been since it was beta, right? Is it still beta? I don't even know.
Well, no, they've rolled out certain features, but the personal context hasn't happened. And of course, personal context was the big thing last year, which is just
Whenever
never.
I hear the noise now, it's just I don't associate it with
I,
any
I,
AI tool that's out there. I associate it with, oh my god, that's a problem. Something's not
no,
going to work.
I mean, they're
So
talking now that Gemini is apparently, well, it seems that it is going to happen, that Gemini is coming to Safari,
when
but
everyone
not at
else is phone,
WWDC.
yeah.
And the reason they're not bringing Gemini in this year, of course, is again, all these tech companies, the net is closing on tech because of Google having this DOJ, Department of Justice trial. At the moment, it's not a smart move for Apple to go and buy Gemini, not knowing who's going to be owning Chrome. Hope you're following this in a little while's time. So I mean, the whole tech industry is, the legislators are clearly thinking these are gatekeepers and everything's too powerful, these companies now. And everybody's collar is being felt. Facebook, I mean, I think Facebook or Meta and Google and Apple, I think all in the same courthouse at the same time. It's kind of stuff of fairy books.
Revolving door, yeah.
Yeah, exactly that. So
I think just to close the loop on the Apple thing, I just think it might not be make or break. I find as a company they'll be fine. Like I said, they probably have customers coming out of their ears, right? But it's certainly a very dark period right now from a company because I don't think it's irrecoverable. I mean, they can clearly turn things around, and if anyone can do anything in the tech industry, it's those guys. But it feels like they need to bring back their mojo of, right, we are the leaders, and we're not just saying that from a profit perspective. We're the leaders because we're producing some amazing shit.
I
That
think
overhaul, whatever. So that overhaul that we're mentioning, should be real because we've heard it before.
Yeah, I mean, the rumours, they're like that by this point where it's so near to the event. I think these rumours are pretty true, and it does look amazing if it works and looks. It's all to do with visionOS now, so it's going to be this glacier effect. The menu bar at the bottom is going to be a floating menu bar. I believe you long press on the icons, and the menu behind it comes up.
That's masking the real problem, right? I mean, I could be wrong, right? But from my perspective, because I don't know, I've used every single Apple since I've bought Apple products since '97, I think. So it's like, yeah, it's been a while, and I've seen this round, going round and round again. We were promised that it will be amazing, and it will look amazing. It will look like Apple stuff. But comparatively with other smartphones, tablets, whatever out there, or other OSs, is it capable? Is it going to be doing something different, or is it just going to look like fancy?
Again,
put in simple terms.
Yeah. I mean, I think it will clearly make people's devices look different, look younger, feel younger, but then there's going to be pushback because a lot of people, okay, this is what we enjoy, this is our passion, our hobby, but people are going to hit update and suddenly going to get this UI they don't recognize. So they're going to swing hard, I'm sure, but then it's a case of they're caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. If they don't push hard enough, they're going to say, it's safe and tame and they shouldn't have bothered. Push too hard, and a lot of the core users are going to say, okay, where's this gone? How do I use this? What? And it's going to look so different. And apparently all of the UI now are going to begin, I think Mac OS is apparently going to get dumbed down a little bit, so it looks more friendly. It's going to look less austere. And the whole idea is that all of the UI now are going to look much more uniform. all with this glacial kind of look to it.
Yeah, again, I think that's fine. I mean, I think most people actually will welcome that fresh look. And I don't know, maybe people are just we're all fickle and we'll just go, oh my gosh, yeah, that's awesome. Let's buy another. Because here's the other side of this this update, right? If it does happen, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these features or the new features or whatever are then like, oh yeah, you have to have a M3 or M4 or whatever version of whatever. I think a lot of these new things often comes with, oh yeah,
Almost paywalled,
but
as it were.
like,
Yeah.
what was the? Oh yeah, it was the Apple Pencil Pro that you know for me it was it was like the tip of this thing, because it's like that to me it was crazy to get this new feature. You have to have this new pencil, and it's like, yeah, every single product where they can squeeze more money out of us, they'll try it.
Oh, without a doubt, they can be greedy. I mean, I was recently talking about the nano texture on the iPad and saying, why is it that we have to have the 1 terabyte iPad to get nano texture? It's the iPad Pro.
Yeah.
Now,
I fell for it several times. I mean, the M1 iPad Pro probably the last time I actually like unconsciously fell for it, because it's like, yeah, I'll definitely get the 16 gig because something must be coming. And it was my bad. I shouldn't have trusted that. And 16 gig of RAM on an iPad for most apps, even today, don't utilize,
well,
any
I'm
of that.
going through one of those spells of trying to cut some of my subscriptions, and one of the ones I've cut is Final Cut for iPad. I realise, yeah, it
Shit, yeah,
works.
I still have it.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
five a
well,
month that I'm not. And I'm thinking, I
and
see it
what
roll
was the
out
other
every
one?
month. And
Logic Pro as well.
well, I'm not a Logic user, of course. I do everything in Audition, but I wouldn't want to switch from Final Cut. I'm loving it now. And we were just talking about Motion VFX and the great plugins they make for it as well. It's a brilliant editing suite to use. Fantastic.
But again, we're talking about a third-party plugin rather than Final Cut, right? Because if you take just Final Cut and try to use that to edit videos, it's like,
It's very basic.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
talking. I mean, CapCut is more feature rich than that.
Actually, just tying things together and going slightly sideways while we're talking about third parties, CapCut is that I'm about to cut CapCut sub, and I'll tell you why. Because Motion VFX now have got this. They do the
Yeah,
titles.
DAI,
It works brilliantly.
But
So
again, we're not talking about Final Cut, right? We're talking
no,
about Motion VFX.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I think it's called Motion AI, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah,
That does
in a
caption AI.
caption.
It's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's in
Yeah,
Design Studio. Yeah, I've
it's
done it for my
really
last
good.
couple of shorts, and it works really well. So back to what we know we're getting feature-wise. Apparently, the main features are going to be live translation. Are going to be pushing hard, which is coming to phone calls, iMessage, and AirPods. Live translation. I'm guessing Samsung have had that for a while.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Does it work well? I think it does now, and I think here's where software needs hardware, because
Actually, I've got a
the
question for you.
experience.
Remind me. Say a bit now, and I'm going to ask
Yeah,
you a question in a minute
because
about.
the experience of the translator, the kind of it's called the interpreter feature, works so good on affordable. So I think it makes sense there. Of course, it works just as well on the S25 Ultra. But when you actually in person, and I took it to Brazil, and it's amazing, right? To like my son's struggling, my wife's struggling, to say, right, here it is, and you could both sides can see,
See it, yeah.
it's amazing for that. But you couldn't. Yes, you could do that with a phone, just turning the phone or giving the phone,
Yeah, well, I get the idea with it in Flex, and yeah.
But it's so much easier and so much less, there's less friction if it's affordable. But having said that, when it first came out, it was not as smooth
Smooth.
as it seemed. I mean, it did get things wrong, and you end up being this, in this frustration kind of situation where you may as well just use, Google Translate or something, So I hope it's fluid. I hope it would, and it's not one of those, oh, it's going to come to America and Spain, and then the rest of the
And
world
roll out,
can.
yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure Spanish will be there as the first one, right? But it'd be awesome to have like Asian languages, other languages in there as well.
the gaming app, the dedicated gaming app. Now, I'm no gamer, as you know, but the gaming app is getting a refresh and a dedicated gaming app. So presumably with the whole A series of chips and M series of chips, they're leaning harder into gaming on Mac and iPhone.
Is this the arcade app?
Yeah, I
Is that
think it's
the
a
upgrade?
refresh of that. I think they're going to completely change it. It's going to be, well, no one's quite sure of the name of it yet, but it is a gaming app. So they're clearly leaning heavy into that. iMessage is going
I
to
do
look.
have some thoughts on that, by the way.
Yeah, well, you
I've
game,
tried
so.
On the 15 Pro, I think was when they first started publicizing about AAA games on, to be able to run that on the iPhone.
Mm.
And yes, you could run, but there's no way. I mean, it was not smooth. It was actually crashing. Resident Evil 4, I think, was the one that they used in their presentation. On the 16 Pro, you could play much better. But again, the phone will get incredibly hot. So yes, all well and good having this, but is the experience going to be any good? And when they say AAA games, we need to see more titles. That's the thing. There's no point having the capability but not have the titles, because I paid for arcade I still pay for it. I don't think I've ever downloaded anything useful from there that I then played. It was very much nice to have, but I don't think I've actually used
it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
there's one of the other big things they're pushing is this AI battery management. So apparently, I don't know if this is because of the iPhone Air coming out and they're aware they're going to have battery issues with that. I don't know, but and they're bigging that up. So I think the AI things they're leaning into are more, not more mature.
I have to say, when it comes to battery, I do. I did have a bad experience with the iPhone 14 Pro.
You had a bad experience with the 16, didn't you? Because you had to get it completely reset by them with remote help.
Yeah, it wasn't so much battery. That was just bad,
right,
crashes and overheating or whatever. The battery was fine.
Right.
So yeah, I was going to say, I think when it comes to battery, iPhones particularly, they've been pretty solid. And the way he manages battery, and I don't know if he's doing some tricky things like closing apps and whatever, but it's certainly, even when it gets to the last 20%, and I'm talking about this now because I've had an interesting situation with the Xiaomi phone.
Oh, you mentioned that in your video, didn't you?
Yeah, and it
kind of gets to 8%, wasn't it? And just
it's clockwork.
And just rips.
It's not like once in a while, or it happens once in a while. No, when it gets to 20%, run to a charger, because it's not like, oh, you still have an hour. I mean, the iPhone, if it gets to 20%, you probably have an hour at least of heavy use.
Yeah.
Same with the S25 Ultra. 20%, you still spare 10%. You may start getting twitchy. With the Xiaomi, 20% right now to me translates to like having 5% on the iPhone. It's like you're dying. You got to find a charge, which is not a good experience because it's a bigger battery.
Yeah,
I don't know. My mistakenly, I'm not sure exactly, but it's about 6,000 milliamp battery.
Yeah, so it's big. Yeah.
But, there's a lot to be said about how Apple and Samsung as well manage battery, because they're smaller and they last all day. Especially on the Pro range. I'm not sure about the newer 16Es and whatever, but the Pro range, you can definitely get over a day pretty safe.
Oh yeah, I've had not any problems at all with my Pro Max this year. My 16 Pro is absolutely fine. It's just
the best I had was the 13 Pro Max. That thing was basic. It just worked, never crashed, never overheat. Since then, I don't know. It just got worse, even though the battery's supposed to be better.
One of the exciting things, not for me again, named today apparently, is there's going to be a magic wand coming for visionOS. So it's not all going to be eye scrolling and eye tracking now. You can use a wand of some sort to tap on apps.
Wait. With visionOS fingers? For visionOS. Okay.
Yeah, so just for visionOS.
I was excited for a second. Oh, MacBooks will get touch screen finally.
Not yet. No, they're getting OLED.
Never.
But then,
Come on, that will never happen.
Well, again, never say never. Never say never. They're already talking year after next. There's going to be a new calendar and health app, but they won't be ready till next year. They've got code names called Buttercup for some reason, but those two apps are going to be, again, big new apps. I think the health app clearly is in Apple's wheelhouse. They know that's quite strong because of the watch, but it's not going to be ready.
Touch screen Mac would be the right thing to do. But again, thinking as a consumer, as a company, they wouldn't do it. I just don't see Apple in the current leadership doing that.
I don't know how intuitive I'd find that, because my hand's always on a mouse or trackpad. I don't know if I'd reach for it or not.
I would. I mean, I would. I mean,
Yours,
even Windows, right? It's more intuitive to use from a touching perspective. So I'm surprised. I mean, that's why the iPad is there, right? But I think, yeah, every single manufacturer, unless I'm missing something, but I think every Lenovo, Asus, they all have touch screen. It's just it's just it's been normal for many years.
well, this is getting
Yeah.
back to what we talked about earlier on. It's the Apple way. They know one way, and it's their way.
And customers who have only used that for their lives, right? They haven't tried something else.
Mm.
It's very much
I
like
haven't.
the phone. It's almost like the phones, right? If I show this to an Apple user, they go, "Oh my gosh, what?" Because it's yeah, it's a shame, because I think it would make the MacBook Pro better,
So I mean,
or
I'm just.
any Macs really.
I mean, uh, the Home Hub, by the way, again, that's apparently not going to be coming this year. That's that thing where it's got kind of the tablet on top of a HomePod.
That was a rumor last year as well, right?
Yeah, well, again, it's all dependent on AI and getting that working, isn't it? Because it's heavily going to rely on that, and it's not up to snuff at the moment. So if I'm just looking at the headline points, I think we can take away from next week are going to be that everything's going to be renamed macOS 26, 27. Fine. We're going to get the brand new UI, which is going to be the big play this year. But if we look at what we're actually getting, it's just going to be this live translations, and iMessage is getting a new skin to look more like WhatsApp, a gaming app, and battery management. I don't think I've really missed anything.
There's got to be more. There's got to be more, right? There's got to be watchOS stuff in there.
Yeah, but that's all going to, again, be to do with this new UI. I don't think there's not been any rumours of anything new coming. They're pinning, as I understand it, they're pinning everything on this UI. Everything. Now, that leads me on to a question I wanted to ask you, which clearly I can't discuss. When One UI 7 came out, did that excite you? Was it different? Was it radically better to use? Do you get excited by an UI generally?
I just like that it's functional and it works, and it's been awesome for I think for a while now. It's been fantastic, but it's all to do with how I use a smartphone. I think a lot of people wouldn't. For example, you wouldn't have the S Pen features on an iPhone because it hasn't got a stylus. But I think just being able to run multiple apps is a massive thing for me, and it's awesome to do that. I mean, pairing apps and even with the cameras, right? There's the iPhone has a camera at the front and at the back, and I don't think you can record both at the same time. Even that, right, as a feature, is like such a simple thing, but it makes a huge difference. Again, until I used it, I didn't know any better. Or things like single take. There's so many little features that's almost can be called hidden features in the One UI space. I've been there for years, and some of them that I don't actually use. But it's just they seem to be less constrained by so we just give you everything, whether you use it or not, whether you want it or not. We're gonna give you a lot of stuff, and I think that's One UI for me. It has so much in there that it's hard to beat, really, even against other Android phones. If I take HyperOS on Xiaomi, or whatever the Oxygen OS, there's so many different OSs, right? Yes, they have some features like that you can the thing with the having your phone on your bag, in your bag, and using the tablet to see your phone.
Yeah.
That actually works really well on Xiaomi. In fact, I think it's faster and more responsive, and it just comes up faster as well than the iPhone on the Mac. So there are features in Android in general that I think are underrated. But I wouldn't say I get. I mean, I didn't get excited with One UI 7 because it was kind of a newer One UI 6. It's not really
it wasn't radical overhaul or anything.
No. And it didn't need to be honest. There was nothing wrong with One UI 6.
So, I mean, I guess wrapping up on WWDC before we talk a little bit about Google and YouTube at the end now is that I think you're doing a reaction video next week. I'm doing a reaction video next week. So our thoughts will be on our channels during the week as to what's gone on.
Yeah, I might, if I'm brave and have the time, I might do a preview to get the hype going, but it's looking unlikely. It might be just a reaction on Tuesday.
If I can just do a little tiny bit of shameless publicity, I'm starting a Discord server.
All right. Nice.
You know Steve Geeks Corner? I know he's a friend with both of us and he watches both our channels.
Yeah.
He's helped me sort it out. And I think we're ready to go live with it. And I thought that'd be a nice chat room that possibly not many people know about it yet, but come WWDC, it should be up by then.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I've had one for a while, but I've never gone live with it because I'm scared of the. It's like I want to have proper moderation. I want to have, it's a community at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
And it would be awesome to
well, that's what I was thinking,
to make it work really well.
I had a few people asking, is there one? And I thought, well, maybe it's about time to try it. So anyway, I think I might be on there, assuming it all works out. We haven't really tested it yet, but I think it's all built. He's done all the work for me.
Yeah.
But hopefully that might be a nice little chat room. And you're involved with a live chat, aren't you? You said as well. Do you say you're involved with some for WWDC?
For WWDC, yeah. I've been invited to join Patrick Ramble's Iskren from DCC. And the third, and Mark Ellis. So the four of us will be talking about WWDC.
What's going on? Yeah.
Can't
wait. On to Google and YouTube. One of the big rumours that seems to be floating around is that we've had A/B thumbnail testing for a while now, but it seems that our wish is coming true, possibly, that we're going to be able to change the titles as well. So have 3 titles and thumbnails.
Yes.
Yes.
It's been good to have 3 thumbs. And I've had mixed reviews mixed feelings about how well they work. Sometimes it's like, I think it's doing more damage than good, because obviously when you split your views into 3, you're probably risking, right? If one thumbnail is really bad, that you're going to risk the entire video.
One of the reasons I haven't used it.
Yeah. But
I mean,
at the same time,
like the fact it's based on watch time, not on click through. I'd much rather it be on click through.
Yeah, we've been there. I'd much rather decide. I think it's good to have, a video that I want people to click on, the one that's going to be more true to the video and like watch for longer. There'll be loads of those opportunities. I want to make that I want to make the retention or the view duration the priority. But there will be other videos like WWDC or like a launch of a new device. Like, let's say the iPhone 17 comes out tomorrow. That thumbnail, it's going to be clickbaity. I don't really care. Honestly, I think my long-term review, I probably care more that people watch for longer. But a reaction to something that's just been launched, I think because we're competing with so many other videos, those I'd like the thumbnail to be more like clickbaity and have more of a higher appeal. And whether or not people watch for longer, I just know that that's not the priority for that video.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, I did try.
It'd be nice to be able to choose it.
I dipped into A/B testing, but I've stopped it now. I'll only put 1 thumb up. And one of the reasons is what you just mentioned. I was worried about diluting with 2 other thumbnails that weren't as strong. And also, I put so much time into that 1 thumbnail. I kind of think it's on me. If I've got it wrong, a thumbnail can often take me 3 hours to make. And I haven't got that time to give. And why would I then put up something? I think that's what I want. Why would I then put up something that's devalued, denatured?
So I started with, and I've done 3 thumbnails for every video since it came out. It's been a thing, right? But what I've changed was, very quickly I changed, because the first thing I wanted to test was, does my face being on the thumbnail make it?
Yeah, the obvious.
Unfortunately, it does. Because I'd rather
people.
I enjoy taking photos of the product and just make that thumbnail look product focused. So initially I made a picture of the product and a picture of me holding the product or showing it or whatever, or me next to it or whatever. And very quickly realized, okay, it doesn't matter if the video does well or not, every single video, it shows me by far the most clicked and the most that people watch for longer is the one where I show my face. So I then changed. Okay, maybe I don't need to do a product view anymore. It's very rare. I think I might still do, but it's be rare. But now I do variations of the same, so it's kind of slightly tweaked.
So it's
Because
all got your face in now, but
yes,
variations.
but minor variations, either me on the
Yeah.
left, on the right, or a different color or whatever. But the reason for that is I'd rather not. I'd rather have 3 completely different thumbs, but they wouldn't go with a bloody title, would they? Because the
That was
title
going to be
says one thing and the thumbnail is wildly different.
that was going to be my follow up. If you had to pick between one or the other, which do you think is more important, the thumb or the title?
Put together, I couldn't pick one more important. I think the thumb is more important because that's the first thing people probably see the image before they read, right?
Yeah.
I'm just guessing here. I'm thinking the process is very quick, right? It's like a second.
Oh, you have
They'll
to be. Yeah.
go image. If the image is no good, they won't even read. If the image is catchy enough, they'll stop and read. So I think it comes image first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the image has to be more impactful. But if the title is, a lot of people click on my videos and they go, they'll be compliment. They'll say, "Oh, that's a great video." They say the thumbnail, I didn't like the title. I was like, "Well, the point was to make you click and
Yeah.
stay in
Yeah.
the
To
video."
stay in it. Yeah.
Forget this, because unfortunately, that's the problem, right? We've got as YouTubers. We have to play that game, because if I just say long-term review of the Xiaomi 15 Ultra or long-term review of the iPhone,
Yeah. No,
or
it's going to go.
comparison, whatever, I
Just carry on
have to say
scrolling.
something dramatic. It's just it's not me. It's not my personality to do it. I'd much rather not do it. And I know creators out there like, I think Dave 2D is a good example of, he doesn't need to go shouty on the title or the thumbnail. It's a picture, and the title just says what the product is. There's nothing crazy going on. I'd love to be in that situation, in that position, but
Yeah.
no one
Unfortunately, in
knows
the
who
real
we are
world.
yet. So we are competing with people who are well established and whatever. Unfortunately, even though we have all this AI power, right, in Google, there isn't enough, enough help for us starting out, or kind of trying to break through um, from a thumbnail. Here's a wild thought, right? That I think it's unbelievable that we don't have it yet. The ability for AI, Google or YouTube or whatever, to read the sentiment of our viewers. There's got to be signals in there, right? When someone is watching your video, whether it's they liked it or whether they watched it for long or whatever, those are already great. But why are we not using what people are saying? That actually, when someone takes the time to comment, and the comment is like amazing, it feels to me like that all YouTube is taking into account is there's a comment, there's one comment. There isn't no one is reading the comment, right? Because if there was a way of identifying that comment was positive or negative to start for a starter, and then quantify that, and then push the videos based on that, right? Because I think sometimes you get like a massive channel with hundreds of thousands of views, but when you look at the comments, it's like there's 20 comments in there, which we know why that is as well.
Yeah.
But there's no one really going, I really enjoyed watching this video. No one
Exactly.
is saying that. Whereas, you got smaller channels like ours where people are going, oh my gosh, I can't believe I've never seen your channel. This is so good to find it, whatever. I feel like, okay, I'm touched, and that's awesome for our own egos.
But it would be good if it could actually help our metrics.
Why isn't YouTube reading this? you know?
Yeah.
As in, why isn't the algorithm taking that into account? And I know the tech is there. I know, because I mean, first time I used sentiment analysis was probably 2015, 2016. So it's, the days before we even called this thing AI, there was just data analytics to be able to read a comment and say, at least identify, is it positive or negative? I just feel like that's missing.
Well, even the basics. I've had a handful today of a good handful of people saying, I didn't get any notifications that your video came out yesterday.
Yeah, that's a massive problem. There's like, what the hell's going on there? I mean, even as a viewer, I was like, I don't want to. There's videos that I followed that was like, I don't want to wait 3-5 days. I want a notification.
Yeah.
I've got that bell ticked for a reason, right?
Yeah, well, exactly that, and you know, you'll know what it's like in studio. You're going, 47% of your viewers are watching this less than normal. Well, yeah, because you're not giving it to them, because they don't know the video's out there.
Notifications are I'm getting views from notifications. I'm not, it's not, they're not like non-existent,
Mm,
but they sometimes spike like days later, like
mm.
3-5 days. So yeah, but I hate to hammer the point, but I think, you know, I'd love not to depend on thumbnails and titles, because
Wouldn't
that's
we all?
not, sometimes you might make a really fantastic video that no one will ever watch because your title and thumbnail didn't work. It feels like
Mm.
a very, I don't know, it's a very stupid thing, because if someone watched it and they enjoyed it and they took the time to comment something on it, then that shouldn't be going to waste. I don't
Oh, I totally agree with you, because it shows investment of their time, doesn't it? That they've actually watched the
think.
video.
And what they're saying is important, rather than just saying first, which you get, who gets the most, one gets excited because they were the first to comment. But the ones that are saying, I enjoyed this about your video, I enjoyed that about your video, or whatever. When you go to Amazon, for example, and you want to buy a product,
Mm. Look at the reviews.
you notice the reviews, right? And now AI is summarizing that for you and saying, this is what people are saying in their reviews. So if you don't want to read every single review, you can actually read a summary now. Why can't YouTube do something like that, right? To say, here's what viewers, even if they don't share that information, but they use it to then push the video. Yeah, I think we're missing that.
Yeah, well, as we know, they've got the tools. They are the all-seeing, all-knowing. They could do that to help us out. It's all meant to be about the creator. Without us, in theory, they haven't got a business, have they? So
Now here's the like the a little bit more vicious side of it, right? 'Cause it's like,
go.
we know there's a lot of videos out there that are like, there's some bots going mental in these videos, and obviously these are people who are, getting sponsored and pretty much taking money out of our mouths, right? Because it's like, um they're buying this bot views. There's no interaction in the videos.
Mm-hmm.
But when you actually see now, I'm seeing this more and more now, when there's a video that people can spot that is a complete, like an ad, um, I also think, why is that comment? Because the creator is not even responding to those comments, right? It's not even taking the pride to go, I feel hurt by this, right? Someone is calling me out like a shill, or they're saying, oh my gosh, not another ad. And there's loads of creators that I've looked up to for years getting this. And I'm thinking, that's kind of the side of YouTube that I'm thinking, what is the point of us like going the extra mile sometimes, and kind of creating these videos that
Unique and
we're proud to create, when there's people out there doing the bare minimum, getting fake views, basically. That's a new thing. Fake news, fake views.
fake views.
And nothing. I mean, no one cares. So
Well,
yeah,
leading on from that, and probably the last point to
all that jolly note.
cover. Well, yeah, and in an equally jolly note, in our last embers of our YouTube career as VO3 takes over, we briefly talked about it pre-show. It's being rolled out at the moment, and it's pretty impressive, pretty powerful, £250 a month. But we began talking about it, and you said, yeah, I've got quite a lot to say about that. You were talking about the baby video, and
Yeah, no, it was an interesting. It's actually kind of going with YouTube and social media in general. It's how quickly AI is making new trends. So obviously there's a balance right now of people being interested in what humans are creating, and I think that's fantastic. Sometimes it might be just someone dancing, or them doing some crazy move, or singing, or whatever, which is great to see. But I'm also seeing like entire uh, an entire niche being created within days. I think this happened probably within the last month or so, where people are saying, right, make this person look like a baby, and then they get a bit of audio and animate that baby. So using maybe two, max three AI tools, you get this baby talking as someone else, and it's freaking funny. I mean, I've only seen comedians do this right now, but it's hilarious. But yeah, that's exploding. That's like, I don't know if it's going to go anywhere, but it just raised something interesting about, how powerful AI can be. And like, is literally creating, there are channels with millions of subscribers now, just running baby speaking.
No, I mean, well, and Google VO3, I mean, it's
And
so
I
powerful.
think that's, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the iterations of the famous Will Smith eating spaghetti video over the last 3 years, from where it started to where we are now. The speed is so crazily fast, and some of the genius people that have been using this VO3, I've looked at their videos. There was one I saw it was meant to be a car exhibition, and promise you, if you didn't know, you would swear you're watching Top Gear at a car exhibition.
I've seen this. Yeah, I've seen this.
Yeah,
There are some amazing creators out
unbelievable.
there using several tools, and it's almost like, you have to have a skill as well in prompt engineering, which is a new thing as well, right? To kind of be able to ask the right things to get the results. But I'm also seeing like smartphones, like Honor, are being really clever with this as well. I don't know if last time we had the pod, I was reviewing the Honor, or was about to go to Honor to do something.
You just were on the way, I think.
Yes, because their latest phone, the Honor 400 Pro, which I still have to make a review on, you can take any photos, not just the photos that you take on the phone, and it will animate that photo. I think it only creates 5 seconds. So initially I thought this is going to be just a gimmick and, whatever. Wow. To get
Really?
like, it's cool to do, it can be quite like, I don't know, depending on the photo that you use, it could be a little bit disconcerting. But I found it really interesting to see like old photos getting some movement in them. It's crazy, like how accurate, how good it is.
That's on a phone.
Yeah, and if you take a photo that is just a static view with no humans in it, it then tries to do some clever stuff, like it transforms that photo into like a drone shot, like a movement is a drone. It's insane.
Is that happening on device? I assume it's on cloud, is it?
It's in the cloud. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're not far off, right? With the power that we're getting. I mean, this is a mid-range phone doing this, and it's pretty quick. I mean, it's less than a minute. Well,
it's animated.
maybe a minute or two. But yeah, it's just it's not the fact that he can do, because he can do that. Like I said, people are creating entire channels with just baby speaking, just using the same technique. But Honor is using Google VO. It's not VO. Is the latest 5 or whatever? Yeah, so he's not using the latest. Which is probably what. But you can see Samsung releases their new phone. That being taken to another step, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
5
In
seconds,
January.
it will make,
so we're kind of 6-7 months away from that. Imagine what will happen in 6 or 7 months. So
that's the speed that we're living in. And it's scary, but also exciting, right? At the same time, if you use it well, if you manage to use it in a way that helps you be better at what you do, why not, right? Yeah, it's great for research and whatnot. But I think with creation of video, there's stuff in there that we could potentially benefit, right? Because I'm all for like staying human, right? It's important to have that connection. But I'm also thinking, we are in tech. I think it's important to embrace some of the stuff and use it in the best way possible as well.
Well, the real Alex and the real David will be doing reviews this week of thoughts and look back at WWDC, our reaction videos. That's the word I was looking for, reaction videos.
I might join her as a baby, just for a lot.
Can you even imagine? And Daniel, he told us this morning, he's got a great guest arranged for us in a couple of weeks' time as well. So,
are we announcing that here or no? Or we're leaving a cliffhanger?
Yes, just in case anything falls out. But Daniel did seem to think it's pretty locked in. It's another great name, so he'll be with us.
We've got a whale. It's a whale.
We've got a baby.
No, as in, it's a big one.
So yes, we'll be back in a couple of weeks' time as normal. And let us know what your thoughts are to WWDC. We'll have the video up this very soon. And watch WWDC and let us know what your thoughts are and what's going on.
Shout out to Daniel and his wife for
Yes,
stealing Daniel from us today.
Yes, I hope you had a lovely. I'm trying to work out what time it is. It's about 4 a.m, I think now. 3 a.m. I don't know. It's late. So anyway, we'll all be back together very, very soon indeed. A couple of weeks' time. Thank you as ever for watching, listening, and enjoy WWDC, and we'll speak to them.
Subscribe.